Hi, I'm Minister Coylette James, and I've been asked to participate in this weekend's reflection on the events that took place on that fateful day, 9/11, 10 years ago. Um, as I think back, all I can think of is that was the day that America cried. There was so much grief and so much sorrow on that day. I remember the day starting like any other day. I was in New York on business, and I was talking to a colleague of mine on the phone, and we were discussing his travel plans for the day he was supposed to be flying in, and he was laughing and saying he didn't want to come, and he just kind of wanted to stay with his family that day. And about 10 minutes later, he called back and he said, "Okay, I'm really not coming." And my response was, "Oh, come on, man, we got things to do. Get on the plane." And he said, "Colette, a plane just flew into the World Trade Center." And I was like, "Please, I'm right here in Manhattan. If that had happened, I'd know." And his response was, and knowing me that I'm not a huge television person, his response was, "Colette, turn on the television." And I did. And as I did that, I sat down and I just began to weep. Just sat in horror, just could not believe what my eyes were seeing. And then 5 minutes later, after sitting there, watching this other plane fly into the second building, that was ah, a surreal moment. It was unbelievable. It was really unbelievable. And the hotel that I was staying at was actually around the corner from a fire station, which was across the street from a Catholic church. And the priest, Father Michael, I don't remember his last name, but Father Michael was one of the priests of that parish. And he was also the chaplain for the fire department. And he was one of the first people to lose his life that day, rushing in to help and to save others. And I mean, it was just so close. The fire department that was around the corner again from the hotel, they lost about 6 people that day in the fire as well. And to go outside later on that afternoon and see that fire truck that they had driven to the scene, parked in front of the station with soot all over it and windows busted out from the explosions. And oh, God, it was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was really surreal. The streets of Manhattan were empty. Um, no cars racing up and down the street. We found ourselves as we saw people who normally you wouldn't think twice about walking down the street, but because of what had happened, you start to look at them in a suspicious way. Are they okay? Or, are they part of what's going on? It was an unbelievable experience. One of the colleagues of mine had a sister that worked in the World Trade Center, and I remember him going down there and trying to find his sister, and just the heart-wrenching grief that he was experiencing, not knowing if she was dead or alive. And thank God that she got out of the building, but so many others didn't. So I just believe that as we reflect back over those 10 years, that we should reflect back in prayer for those that are still here, for those that are still grieving for their loved ones, for those that still have a hole in their heart where there's a void where that person once was. I believe that we should reflect um, in the knowledge of, even though time has moved on, we can never be so laxed and so comfortable that we're unaware that danger is always lurking. And that's not to be paranoid or always looking over your shoulder, but at the same time being prayerful and mindful of our situations and circumstances around us. So I just encourage you, as you reflect back over these 10 years, that you think heartily over the people that were